trading houses that have been in existence for more than 100 years, and how they continue to display a really good and positive attitude towards our country, and see opportunities and want to invest in them more and more. I also took the trouble to invite those that we met and want to do so now here, to invite you all to the investment conference that we're going to have next year in March, which Minister Pakstow will be leading our country in. And we want to invite many companies to come, and many of those, if not all of those that we met today and yesterday, have said they will participate. And we invited them to come and exploit the opportunities that are there to be found in South Africa and collaborating with other South African companies. South African agricultural products currently found in the Japanese market include rooibos, appetizers, juices, citrus, wine, avocados, butternut, and maize. One of the things that we articulated to the Prime Minister is that we would now like to, now that we are a trusted partner and a reliable partner as South Africa, we would now like to expand the number of products that we export to Japan. I informed him that we spent 15 years just negotiating the importation of avocados, South African avocados, to Japan. 15 years. He was quite amazed, and I said, yes, Prime Minister, it took us that long to finally reach agreement. And I remember when I was Deputy President coming here, just to come and talk about avocados. And to talk about the spots, the black spots on the avocados. And we went through the whole process. And today we said, we now want to move to a point where we discuss a plethora of products, not just one product over 15 years. If we do that, if we add 2 15 years, 3 15 years, I will not be around anymore. I want to get the job done quickly. So that is something that Japan is going to look into. Our country is a top-tier global agricultural exporter, we told you, with strong sanitary and phytosanitary standards, as well as traceability systems, with a growing range of niche and high-value products. And let me say, to be fair to the Prime Minister, he said Japan would like to make sure that the products that are brought in are products that will be fit enough for Japanese consumers, particularly with regard to health. And we agreed with him on that, and that is why we go through a rigorous process of making sure that our exports do comply with the various requirements that many countries want. Globally, we are ranked #1 exporter of rooibos tea, the best tea in the world, I might add. The #1 exporter of macadamia nuts, the 2nd largest exporter of fresh citrus, and the 5th largest exporter of olive of wine. I met one business leader today who described how wonderful and nourishing South African wine is. He took the trouble to tell me that he went to Stellenbosch and enjoyed the wine and had a little bit more than he should have. And he decided that he will not have wine anymore after lunch or during the day, will only have it in the evening. And he said, in the evening I can have as many glasses as I want. So that goes to testify how wonderful South African wine is. We are a global supplier of strategic and industrial minerals, as you had used in Japan's green tech industries. We are world leaders in the supply of platinum, and we had the CEO, Neville, also talking about all this. We are, in many, many ways, in the top class of producing a number of minerals and critical minerals at that. Now, South Africa's exports automotive components to Japanese auto manufacturers across the global supply chains, the chemicals, the polymers, and the stainless steel and fabricated metal products. These are important products that just go to testify about the partnership that there is between South Africa and Japanese businesses. And our products are not only export ready, but uniquely positioned to meet evolving Japanese consumer and industrial demands. Now, we have great pride in being able to be the home of 270 Japanese companies that have a notable presence in the South African economy, sustaining well over 250,000 local jobs. Now, our strategic position on the African continent, our developed infrastructure and active private sector makes South Africa a strong base for regional expansion. It was your Prime Minister who said that they see, Japan sees South Africa as a gateway into the African continent. And we often say that as South Africans, but it was like music to my ear when it was said by the Prime Minister. And I knew then that it is indeed so. We are on a path to revolutionize our energy sector in pursuit of low carbon, climate resilient development as a country. We're actively seeking investment in the energy sector with a particular focus on renewables and green hydrogen, but also in the expansion of our electricity grid. The Minister Dr. Ramaphosa will have an opportunity to speak here and regale you about how recently he launched an opportunity for investment in the 14,000-kilometer grid network that we intend to install, where we're inviting the private sector to participate with us as partners so that we can expand our grid. But there are enormous opportunities also in renewable energy projects, in green hydrogen, and a whole number of other related energy opportunities. Is to promote the development of electric vehicle industry in South Africa. We invite core investment on manganese, vanadium, platinum group metals, and other rare earths, with a view to beneficiate these. Also aimed at ensuring that we have clean energy and mobility markets. In diagnostics and cloud services and pharmaceutical manufacturing will serve both domestic and other African country demand. And our country, where there was quite a lot of less investment and neglect in our important industries, network industries as we call them. We are reviving all these and focusing our attention through an important project that we are driving from the Presidency and from the Treasury, including working together with all other departments in government. And through this, we are expanding economic capacity and doing one other important thing, to improve policy certainty so that we are seen as reliable partners, as partners and individual. And we do have adequate investment protection mechanisms to reduce the risk that many businesses would normally fall prey to. And for prospective investors, all we would say is that talk to those who have already in South Africa. We are committed to taking an area. This is what makes South Africa being a gateway into Africa even more relevant. And under this free trade area agreement, South Africa is positioning itself as a continental industrial hub. the strengths that we have of being the most industrialized country on the continent will be best utilized when countries or companies utilize South Africa as a gateway to capture this market of 1.3 billion people, both in industrial activity, in manufacturing, as well as innovation. We invite Japanese businesses to co-invest with us in value chains anchored in South Africa that serve the continental market of all these 1.3 billion people. So South Africa is firm union's economic prioritization and industrialization. We're very pleased that Japan has continued to be committed to the TICAD summit process, and through that to demonstrate its support for Africa's development. And through TICAD, today and yesterday, we've been able to also focus on economic development. Most of those who spoke, right from the beginning, from the Prime Minister's speech, the Secretary General speech, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and also the representative from the AU, the chairperson of the Commission, all of them, including a number of presidents who spoke yesterday and today, were speaking about economic development. So the economic development fire has caught on into Africa. Africa is clearly on the move, and it requires the support of all of you who are here, who are business movers and shakers. Africa is ready for development, and it is a market that is growing. We are also chairing key forums in the G20 and the G7 outreach that focus on a number of economic enablers, such as critical minerals, climate change, as well as industrial resilience. So South Africa and Japan can jointly advocate for a rules-based global system that supports fair trade, that supports sustainable investment, and value chain integration. And on this, South Africa and Japan have a great deal of affinity, a great deal of commonality. Together, we will be able to build industrial corridors in electric vehicles, in hydrogen, as well as in digital innovation. And indeed, in a number of other areas where a number of your own Japanese companies have been doing business for years and decades. And I was particularly impressed to get to know that a number of Japanese businesses are actually expanding, and they have a greater vision of what they want to achieve. But what was most impressive was the extent to which they're willing to work with us in South Africa as partners. Now, we should strengthen trading platforms for a number of products that we produce, and we should harmonize tariff and regulatory frameworks to incentivize the location of high-value manufacturing. And we must work also to translate our friendship into industrial and human development, with South Africa serving, yes, as the gateway into the African continent. I say friendship advisedly because in the conference sector I was able to meet a number of young people who have come to Japan, to your learning institutions, and who are in the process of learning Japanese. I'm sorry that I haven't stayed long enough to learn your language, because if I stayed long enough, I would be able to learn your language, because that enhances friendship. And I'd like to make great friends with many of you by also speaking your language, because there are some barriers. I'm not suggesting that I have any barrier with you. I'm just suggesting that it would be a good thing. But the friendship between South Africa and Japan, in my view, is an enduring one. So South Africa is ready to partner with Japan in achieving a number of feats, if I may call them that. Durable, innovation-driven achievements to develop and to advance the African economic development process. And I encourage Japanese businesses to work together to seize the abundant opportunities that South Africa has to offer. And so saying also that Africa has to offer, because our continent, as I said, is clearly on the move, and being on the move means that Japanese companies must open their eyes and see what Africa has to offer. But at the same time, we as South Africans, and that's why there are so many business people from South Africa, are also here to deepen the relationship between Japanese businesses and South African businesses, and to open the markets on both sides. So I wish you all wonderful deliberations going forward, and I want to have the opportunity to come back here again, South Africa, on a state visit for a long time. We are going to make that possible. When your leaders come to South Africa on a state visit, we want to see as many of you Japanese business leaders accompanying that leadership to South Africa, because we also want to host you when you come to South Africa. So with those words, I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity to meet you and to see you all, and wish you the very best in your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President, for those wonderful words. And Mr. President, I must also indicate that discussion that you had with the Japanese businessman about wines. We do have wines of South Africa at the end of the program today. You are welcome to really indulge yourself and ensure that you taste what South Africa has to offer you in terms of the wines. And our president is right. Let me tell you, it's one of the best in the world. And I'm always impressed when you travel and you sit in these airlines, and then you see wine in the wine list of these airlines, and you'll understand that they're quite picky. So that gets to show the importance of how good our wines are. And our tea. Our president also spoke about our tea, rooibos tea. We have a number of products here, which we will then showcase a little bit later on. Our president has extended an invitation to you for the investment conference next year. Please make sure that you work together with our colleagues from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, as well as ourselves, to ensure that we can support your initiatives and your reach in terms of engaging with